Have you ever noticed that it's easier for you to read in English and speak well than it is for you to speak impromptu when somebody asks you a question, or you're sitting on a panel, or you bump into your manager, or they ask you something you weren't expecting? Reading, or even a prepared presentation, is much easier than impromptu speech, right? I know it is for me. If I'm prepared, if I know the subject matter, if I've prepared a speech, if I've practiced it, it's much easier to say. Impromptu speech. So, what we're talking about today is there's prepared and impromptu speech. They're two very different things when it comes to communication. So, first, let's talk a little bit about the prepared speech. A prepared speech is very similar to a written document. Let's think about an essay for grad school. Let's think about a report, a 1 or 2 page report, right? When we prepare a speech, there has to be a beginning, an introduction. There has to be a middle, which goes more deeply into the introduction. And then there has to be a conclusion. So one of the things we talk about in this idea of preparing a speech is, first we tell them what we're going to tell them. That's the introduction. Then the body is, we tell them. We get into the meat and potatoes. That's an expression. We get into the body. We get into the explanation of that kind of introduction. We tell them what we're going to say. But then at the end, we tell them what we told them. That's that conclusion. So in fact, in a prepared speech, we want to say it 3 times. Tell them what we are going to tell them what we told them. Now you might say, why do we want to do that 3 times? That seems repetitive. There's a few reasons. We need to do that because when people listen to us, every 30 to 60 to 90 seconds, our brains think about something else. Just ask yourself right now. Ask yourself right now, have you heard every single sentence that I've said? Or did you start to think a little bit about picking up your daughter after school, or what you're going to have for lunch, or how the meeting in the afternoon is going to go? Our minds drift. That's why the repetition is so important, especially when we're delivering a really crucial or important message. So when you organize a presentation, I want you to start to think about, what is the introduction? How can I open up with some kind of hook or attention getter, and then give them a preview? Tell them what I'm going to tell them. And then get to the body, where you go into the data points. You go into, think about if it's a bunch of slides, you're going to go into detail into that preview. And then at the end, you're going to remind me what you just said. So it's a structure. Think about, what kind of structure can I use? Think about an essay, think about a report where you have the executive summary, the body, and then a conclusion. I can read the executive summary, get the idea. I can read the conclusion, I can get the idea. And if I want to go into more detail, I can look at the body. So that would be for more formal speech. But when you have impromptu speech, which again is harder than that prepared message, when you have that improvisational message that you're going to give, you need to be able to think clearly, and you need to be able to get their attention, so some kind of hook, you need to be able to think on your feet. You need to be able to, well, one of the ways that I like to be able to speak in an impromptu way is to remember to pause and to remember to emphasize. Because when you use the thought chunking framework about pausing and emphasis, and you use that for your impromptu speech, you are going to gain time. Your brain is going to be able to deliver clear messages to you because you're using a thoughtful approach to speaking. I know for me that when I pause, I become more intentional. And we need to be intentional because we need to speak with authority. The speaking with authority, it's easier when you have a prepared message, but it is possible when we speak impromptu. But we have to take up that silent space. We have to be comfortable with silence so that the thinking on our feet is easier. So if there were a tip, if there was something that I wanted to share with you today, it's that, yes, prepare your message for your formal presentations, but also think about impromptu speech as using the diamond method, using your pause, using your emphasis, using your melody to highlight a word, because you see, if I highlight a word, I'm grabbing your attention. And if I grab your attention, I'm probably going to pull you back from thinking about getting your daughter after work, or what you're going to have for lunch, or what's going to happen in the meeting in the afternoon. Because I'm being skillful. You have to be more skillful, almost more skillful in your impromptu speech than you do your prepared messages. And we do that by being intentional, pausing, highlighting words, using our voice. Now, if you like this idea of understanding the difference between impromptu speech and prepared speech, then I want you to go through the YouTube channel here and look for more YouTube videos that can help you to do this. Because it's really under your control. You can control your message by being intentional. In fact, there is a video on intention that I can share with you in the description, all right, so that you can learn more about that. I'll put that in the description of today's video. But I want you to think about how important it is when we talk about prepared and unprepared speech. They're two very different skill sets, all right? And then I want to invite you to come back, because in the next video, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between self-awareness and self-consciousness. That is another of the Diamond Method's communication principles that we'll be going through in the next video. So come on back for that and use the link into today's description to go more deeply into intention so that you can speak really clearly and really well, whether it's a prepared or an impromptu speech. So thanks for being here today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe with notifications to the By Jill Diamond YouTube channel. And I'll see you next time when we talk about self-awareness and self-consciousness. All right, see ya. Bye.